Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. This video is the beginning of a new series on my channel. I am going to be doing monthly wrap-ups and also resets for the next month coming. So in this video I'm going to touch on all the books that I read in the month of May. I'm going to be talking about my monthly favorites, also some health and life updates, some wins and some challenges that I've had throughout the month. Then we're going to be doing some journal prompts reflecting on the past month and getting ready for the next month coming, and I'll be making a really fun Pinterest mood board reflecting on what I want my next month to look like and some goals and ideas and just themes for that next month. And then I'll be ending this video with my TBR for June next month, which is really exciting. I got through so many of my books that I wanted to read for May last month, and I am really back in my reading groove and I'm just really excited. I love planning out my reading and trying to stick to it. I think I stuck to my reading goals for May really well. Let me know if you like these kind of wrap up, reset, monthly videos. I think it's going to be a really fun little series to start on my channel and just kind of wrap up what the month looks like in a nice way to look back at all my months and how I've set my goals and what I've read and what I've been wanting to read. So starting off with the books that I read in May. May was a very big month, all centered around the International Booker Prize. Every single book that I read in May was on the long list for the International Booker Prize. I read 8 books in May, which I am so happy with. I think that's the most books that I've read so far in a month this year. I used to read so many books last year. I read so many books each month, but I've fallen off my reading groove a bit at the start of this year, but I've really worked my way back into it and I'm in such a good reading mood. So I finished 8 books and I loved so many of them. They were all the International Booker Prize long list and I touched on each of them in my previous video on my channel, talking about the International Booker Prize long list and what I thought the winner was going to be, and I did my own shortlist over there. So if you're looking for a much more in-detail, deep review of those books, check out that video. But just here, I'm going to just touch on them really briefly because we've got a lot to talk about today, and I've already rambled on about these books for far too long on my other videos. So the first book that I read in May was A Leopard Skin Hat. This was translated from French and it follows the story of this friendship between the narrator, he calls himself the narrator, and his close childhood best friend. And she suffers from a range of psychological disorders and it kind of follows her struggles and her dealings with that, and it's written in a very experimental way and I didn't really gel with it much, and I think I ended up giving it about 3 stars. I didn't think it made for quite a pleasant reading experience and it just wasn't really up my alley. Next I read The Book of Disappearance, which was translated from Arabic. This contemplates what would happen if all the Palestinians in Israel disappeared overnight and how the world would react, how the Israelis would react, and it was done in a really experimental but like really fun way of writing, which is quite interesting. But I really love this one. I thought it should have been shortlisted for the Booker Prize, and I think I ended up giving this one 4.5 stars. Next I read Reservoir Bitches, which was translated from Spanish, and I absolutely love this. This is a short story collection all centered around 13 Mexican women, and it just follows the stories of their lives and their empowerment and them being basically bad bitches. But I really loved the way that these stories were interconnected and really woven throughout each other, even though they were a set of short stories. And it's very much a big discussion about violence against women and poverty, and it's written with a lot of rage and it just gives an amazing voice to these women. Next I read Small Boat, which was translated from French. This is set around a true story. So in 2021, this dinghy capsized that was carrying a lot of refugees from France to England, and it centers around one of the French rescue callers and her kind of view and take on this story and how she refuses to be held accountable for these migrants capsizing and for 27 of the 29 of them to die. I really found this book chilling and just incredible writing, and I think it was one of my absolute favorites from the International Booker Prize. Next I read There's a Monster Behind the Door, which was translated from French and set on the island of La Réunion, which is just off the coast of Madagascar, and it's set in 1980s, and it just follows the people's lives there. It follows this one family called the DeSantis, and this young girl who's part of this family. She's trying to avoid the same downfall as her family. They're really violent and dangerous, and yeah, it just kind of follows their lives and their stories, and also the myths and the kind of monsters and mythical legends that the locals talk about. Then I read Under the Eye of the Big Bird, translated from Japanese. I really loved this one. It was quite confusing at first. It felt like a short story collection, but it all kind of came together at the end. This is a sci fi novel talking about the extinction of humans and how in the future they could create more humans from plants and animals and just experimenting in that way, and a lot of AI as well. I really enjoyed this one. I think the writing was really fun. Next, I read Perfection, which was translated from Italian, and this was my favorite read of the month. This follows a young expat couple living in Berlin, and they're working from home as creatives, and it kind of just follows the idea of their existence and how empty they feel within themselves, and also like the fake facade that they show on social media. And they try and change location and try and find this sense of perfection that they don't feel like they can achieve living in each different place, and they just feel really empty. And it just is really interesting, really beautiful writing, and I really love the way it conveys the feeling of just not knowing where you belong in a certain space, and the difference between somewhere temporary and somewhere permanent. And then lastly, in May, I read On a Woman's Madness, which was translated from Dutch, and this was queer literature first written in 1982, so it's only just recently been translated to English. And it tells the story of this courageous black woman who's trying to live a life of her choosing, all centered around love, survival, and freedom. And it was quite beautiful, but I found it a bit disjointed and I didn't absolutely love it. I only have 3 of the 8 books that I read in physical copy. I read a lot of books on my Kindle and my Kobo this month, but I do have my favorite one, Perfection, here, which I absolutely loved. I underlined so much of this, and yeah, really happy with my reading this month. I think I had an amazing reading month and had so much fun reading the International Booker Prize. Alright, now we're moving on to my May favourites. This is just different things, items, songs, just things that I enjoyed in the month of May. So starting off with fragrances, this has been my favourite fragrance for a few months now, but I thought I'd mention it because I've been absolutely loving it this month. This is the brand Odessi, and it is so gorgeous. I just absolutely love this packaging. So this is Odessi perfume, and I have the scent Cedar Street. Don't know if you can see that, but I've got Cedar Street, and I absolutely love this. This is so fruity and beautiful. It's got notes of apple, cedar, and lemon, and it's so fruity and fresh, and it just feels like so me, so my scent. I've been trying to find a scent that I love for so long, and this is exactly it. I also love vanilla scents, but this is a bit more fruity and fun, and yeah, it's so fresh and lovely. I absolutely love this brand of perfumes. They also do solid perfumes, but I love the spray one. My next favorite is something I've been talking about a lot on my vlogs. I've been talking about this so much, but this is my new Kobo. I am in love with my Kobo. I'll just quickly touch on why I'm obsessed with it. But basically, the library feature is the best thing. This pen I can annotate with. This case is gorgeous. It's all in color, and I just think it's so much better than Kindle. I've been able to borrow so many books for free just through my library card and read them on here, and it's just been amazing. I think e-readers are absolutely incredible, and I use them every day. I just love reading on an e-reader. Next up in my favorites, I have an op shop find. I've been going op shopping so much this past month, and I think I'm also going to go op shopping today after I finish this video. But I found this really beautiful woolen knit. I'm always on the lookout for some like beautiful pieces of clothing. I never seem to find ones that I love, but this one, this is a beautiful blue knit. I'm just absolutely, it fits me so well, and I'm just absolutely obsessed with it. Looks like it's definitely handmade as well, and it's just got so many beautiful details, and it's so warm and lovely. So that was my favorite find of the month, definitely. My next favorite is this ring that I found. This is from the big design market that I went to in my last vlog. I mentioned this. This is a beautiful handmade piece from a Melbourne artist, and it's meant to look like a piece of coral, but also almost like a paint palette. And I just think it's really gorgeous and really suits my other chunky rings, and it's my favorite jewelry piece at the moment. I just think it's so quirky and lovely. My next favorite from May is another op shop find. I have been obsessed with drinking tea, which is also another one of my favorites that I'm going to mention after this. I've been obsessed with drinking tea, and I love to do a little dash of milk in my tea, and I've been collecting lots of cute little like tea sets and stuff to have in my kitchen, and I got a little milk jug from the op shop, and it's a cow. It's a little cow that I could put my oat milk in, and when I pour it, the milk comes out of the cow's mouth, and it's the funniest thing ever, but it's also so cute. I am in love with this. This is from the brand Maxwell Williams, and I just looked online before because I was telling my friend about this. You can buy them for $3, brand new online, so I'm going to be getting more of these, but this is my favorite thing I've bought in a very long time. It is so cute, and every time I have my tea, I pour the milk and it just brings me so much joy. And then, following on that note, my favorite tea at the moment is T2's French Earl Grey tea. Absolutely obsessed with this tea at the moment. That with a dash of oat milk is just perfect. And then my next favorite is kind of like a concept and just kind of a vibe that I've been embodying a lot in the past month or so. I am obsessed with the color blue. I have never really liked blue as a color. I've been very much a green girl, which you can tell right now. I love green. It's probably one of my favorite colors, and yellow. But since moving to the ocean and moving to the sea, I've really appreciated the color blue, and I've started wearing more blue, like this jumper, and buying more things that are blue. And I actually think blue is such a beautiful, beautiful color. And yeah, I've just been obsessed with that color this month. And then my last monthly favorite has been puzzles and audiobooks. Just doing a puzzle and listening to an audiobook at the same time has brought me a lot of joy. It's been such a nice way to spend my days. And in particular, I did this puzzle this month, and I absolutely love this. This is a wildflower puzzle. It's a little poster of different wildflowers, and this brand Cavallini and Co. is incredible. I love the way they package their puzzles, and their puzzles are really good quality, and yeah, just really fun. They're my favorite puzzles that I've done. Just makes for a really, really fun puzzle experience, and I listen to an audiobook whilst I'm puzzling, and it's really fun. I just found this one secondhand from someone on Marketplace, and it was really cheap. Really lucky because this was on my list of puzzles I wanted to buy. They're all my May favorites for the month. And now I'm going to be touching on my health and life updates. I'm just going to list one win and one challenge of the month. So, my win for the month is that I have recovered so well from my surgery. My surgery was 2 months ago now, and I haven't gotten sick or run down with a cold or flu or any immune system problems since my surgery. So, I'm extremely happy and grateful that my surgery worked so well and that the endometriosis was removed and it's all under control at the moment. And then, my one challenge with my life and my health this past month has definitely been my fatigue because I have just had surgery and I'm still recovering. My fatigue has been quite bad alongside my POTS. I have been needing to sleep and rest quite a lot more than usual. And when I went away, like 2 weeks ago, I was really exhausted and the traveling was really hard, so I had to sleep quite a lot. But apart from that, I've been really well and really grateful for how well I've been doing, and my pain is like hardly there at the moment, which is just incredible. And then quickly touching on some journal prompts. I've got my journal here. I love my little red journal. I just wrote down some May journal prompts, so some end of month check-in questions, and I'm gonna write my answers in after this video and reflect on them. But I just thought I would share what my questions are that I want to reflect on, and if you guys want to do the same, you're more than welcome to. So I have 6 questions here. The first one is, what is something new I learnt about myself? And then, is there a new habit that I will be taking into the next month? Did I take the time for self-care? How did I step outside of my comfort zone? What would I like to improve on next month? And what lessons did I learn this month? So I'm going to be reflecting on them going into June. And then I did a Pinterest board, kind of brainstorming how I want my next month to look, the themes and goals, and just a very visual idea of what I want my next month to look like. I'm a very visual person. I love planning and doing things very visually. So I'll put my board up on the screen and I'll talk you guys through basically what I want and envision my next month is very based in being more active than I have been in the past 6 months. I want to get out and bike ride again. I want to get back into yoga, and I also want to do more cold water swims, which I have done a few of in this past month. I think cold water swimming in the ocean is just so incredibly good for you, and I feel so great after I've done it. I also want to continue the goal of reading more and more. So I read 8 books last month. I'm trying to aim to read 10 books in this next month. I want to be more creative. I want to sew and I want to scrapbook more and junk journal. I want to post more regularly on YouTube. I'm trying to aim for 2 videos a week at the moment because I'm really in my groove and I'm really loving making videos again, which is such a special feeling. I haven't felt that love for it in a while. There's an art exhibition that I really want to go to at the National Gallery of Victoria this month. It's the Impressionists. All the French Impressionist paintings are coming to Melbourne, and I'm so excited. I'm going to go like 2 or 3 times. It's my absolute favorite type of artwork. And overall, the goal and idea for this month, the theme is just staying cozy, staying warm, and just looking after myself because we are getting into winter. June is the first month of winter here in Australia, and I really struggle with winter a lot, but I think I am actually excited for it this year, and I think it's going to be really cozy and warm and my first winter in this beautiful little cottage. And now we're moving on to the last part of this video. This is my June TBR for next month. I've just chosen 7 books. I'm very much a mood reader when it comes to reading, so I know that I'll read other books that are not on my TBR. So I just chose 7 that I really, really want to read next month, and then we'll see where the month takes me. So I've got my 7 books here. First up, we have The Summer Without Men by Siri Husfit. This is a book that's been on my TBR for a while, and I've heard quite a few friends on here talking about this book, and I'm really excited to read it. This is a contemporary fiction novel, and I'm just going to read a little bit of the blurb out for you. Out of the blue, your husband of 30 years asks you for a pause in your marriage to indulge his infatuation with a young French woman. Do you A. assume it's a passing affair and play along? B. angrily declare your marriage over? C. crack up? D. retreat to a safe haven and regroup? This sounds really fun, and I was so excited. I found this secondhand, and I just think it's gorgeous, and the cover is gorgeous, and I need some summer reading to get through winter. Next, I have The Waves by Virginia Woolf. I've been meaning to read this for so long. I've only read one Virginia Woolf, which was A Room of One's Own. I've had a lot of people tell me that her writing's similar to Ellie Smith's, very poetical and arty writing, and I think I'm going to love her writing because I've only read A Room of One's Own and it was quite short. So I'm really excited to read like a proper long novel from her. And I've had this on my TBR for so long, and I just need to start reading it, especially because I've just moved to the sea. I think a book called The Waves is a perfect book to read right now. Following on the theme of books that are set around the ocean and the sea, I chose a book called Tides because I just love the name, and I'm also very intrigued by this story, and I've had some people recommend it to me, so I'm really excited. This is Tides by Sarah Freeman, and I love that it's got the first line on the front. It says, "She does not have to leave. No one says you must go. No clothes thrown out the window, no eviction notice. Her husband is already gone by then. She was the one to tell him that he had to go." I read like just a few of the first pages when I was standing in the op shop when I found this, and I already fell in love with the writing. Like it just hooked me straight away. I don't even know much about this book, but I am so excited to read this. I think it's going to be a gorgeous read. And next, I have a book called Coming Through Slaughter. This is from the Booker Prize winning author of The English Patient, and this one sounds really interesting. This is all set around the beginning of jazz in New Orleans, and just sounds really interesting. I'll read out some of the blurb to you, and it was also recommended by Otessa Moshfegh, which is a good sign. At the turn of the century, the Storyville district of New Orleans had some 2,000 prostitutes, 70 professional gamblers, and 30 piano players. But it had only one man who played the cornet like Buddy Bolden, he who cut hair at N. Joseph's shaving parlor and at night played jazz, unleashing an unforgettable wildness and passion in crowded rooms. Self-destructively in love with 2 women, he embodied all the dire claims that music places on its Elachites. At the age of 31, Buddy Bolden went mad. From these sparse facts, Ondaatje has created a story as beautiful and chilling as New Orleans' funeral procession, where even mourners dance. I'm just really excited to read a novel all about jazz, and I think it's going to be a really short one, and it just, from reading tiny little bits throughout it, it sounds really lyrical and beautiful, and I'm really excited. Next up, we have Mouthing by Orla Mackie. I believe this one's set in a small Irish town, and I love any Irish writing. Like, literally every single Irish book that I've read, I have loved. So I just saw the cover of this one in the op shop and I fell in love with it, and I don't really know much about it apart from it's literary fiction and set in a small town, and I'm so excited to read this. Next, I have Parasol Against the Axe. I bought this one probably like 6 months ago at the bookstore, and I bought this purely just because of, first of all, the cover, and also a recommendation from Ali Smith, my favorite author. This one seems like it's really going to blur reality and fiction. It's kind of almost like a fantasy take on literary fiction, and a bit of like a labyrinth and not knowing what's real, and very much playing on magical realism, which Ali Smith is great at, and if she's recommended this, I am so excited. And it's also set in Prague, so this one is going to be incredible, and I just need to get around to reading it. And last in my June TBR is Deep Cuts by Holly Brickley. This is a very new release. It's currently everyone's talking about this one, and I'm so excited to get into this. Deep Cuts is a contemporary literary fiction, and I'll read out the blurb to you guys. The first time Joe plays Piercy one of his songs in his college room in 2000, she instantly realizes three things. 1. She is watching a star in the making. 2. She can shape his music into something extraordinary. 3. She will always be on the sidelines. She swallows her jealousy and throws herself into collaboration, transforming Joe's songs into indie hits with her blistering critiques. But there's an undercurrent to the music they're making, something undeniably electric, hurtling towards love, and then almost inevitably towards heartbreak. As Joe steps into the spotlight, can Piercy bear to watch on in silence? And can he exist there without her? Really, really excited to read this one. I think it's going to be really fun. So this is my TBR for next month. I'm so excited to get around to reading these ones. Please let me know in the comments what book you're most excited to read next month, and also what books you enjoyed reading in May. And thank you so much for watching this wrap up. I had so much fun filming this and chatting about my favorites and all the books I've read and what I'm excited to read. I'm really looking forward to June and all the reading that I'll be getting done. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all in another video at the end of the week.